Dakota Republican Senator John Thune is a member of the Budget Committee. Senator, that might dissuade people of this deal too good to be true. What do you think?
Well, good afternoon, Neil. It actually is. This is I was just looking this morning at National Journal's headline. It says, Dems to GOP, no entitlement reform. What the president's putting forward is a big tax increase, a big fat tax increase in the middle of a stagnant economy. It's not serious. They're not serious. They are in denial that we've got a problem with regard to federal spending. What's driving federal spending is these runaway entitlement programs that we've got to reform if we're going to get on a sustainable path. And just raising taxes is not going to do anything to fix that.
Well, that's the only thing that's on the table right now, Senator.
Growth.
That's the only thing that's on the table. And the letter you're referring to from Senator Jay Rockefeller and Tom Harkin from West Virginia and Iowa, respectively, and they urge 20-some-odd other Democrats to sign on. Don't touch the entitlements. Make the ratio of spending cuts to tax increases more like 1-to-1. I don't see this ball moving here, do you?
Well, I hope it can, but what should happen is if they were serious about fixing this problem, Neil, is let's get into next year and we can do this in a reasonable time frame, and let's couple entitlement reform and tax reform. There are Republicans who are willing to put revenues on the table as long as it's in the context of tax reform that lowers rates with entitlement reform, but we're not going to do that in the last 30 days of this year. We ought to extend the existing tax rates rather than take the risk of driving over this fiscal cliff and plunging the economy into a recession.
Yeah, but the president doesn't seem to be.
And others say that's what happened.
Well, the president doesn't seem to be budging on this, and his flank is saying, "Don't you even consider doing this?" So I guess now we're at this potential point of no return, where if the two sides are that far apart, Republicans and Democrats, how real is this cliff looking? And there's a separate thought that many Democrats want to go over that and want that cliff to happen.
I think it's very real, and I think there are Democrats who are fine with going over the cliff because I don't think they believe it would hurt the economy when, in fact, you've got all these economists, both private and government, saying that this would perhaps cost us 2.2% of economic growth next year, take the unemployment rate up to over 9%, reduce take-home pay for most Americans, and cost us about 700,000 jobs. I mean, that's the reality of what we're looking at if we don't fix this. But I don't think the Democrats, a lot of them at least, believe that. I think they're in denial about this. But that, to me, is why it just makes sense right now for us to get past this immediate hurdle and let's get into the big debate that we need to have in this country about growing the economy, creating jobs through tax reform, and getting our country fiscally solvent again through entitlement reform. We're willing to do that, but we can't do that in 30 days right here in this lame duck session of Congress as we approach this fiscal cliff.
Senator, thank you. Very good seeing you again.
Thanks, Neil. You too.
All right, Senator John Thune.